Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back once again for the third time to the Hell City Builder of the Dead. To also once again another sponsored video by Metropolis, as I like to show you this game before it comes out to early access. This is a very unique and interesting and also very difficult city builder where you are taking the role of the Hell Governor and you have to fight titans, manage your sinners' souls and also all of your complex logistics. This is once again a preview, hands-on gameplay. Don't forget to check out the link in the video description to learn more about this really cool game. And without further ado, let's jump into the third mission.
The year 1545. The beginning of the Great Pestilence, or Cocolistli in Nahuatl, was a mysterious illness that dawned upon central Mexico. An invisible enemy, swift and utterly terrifying. The symptoms included high fevers, hallucinations, bleeding from the eyes, nose, and mouth. The death toll on the indigenous population of Mexico is recorded at around 15 million lives. It is even to be regarded as the deadliest epidemic that has dawned upon Mexico. Cocolistli played a big part in erasing the Aztec civilization, as they never recovered from the sharp population decline. For many centuries after Cocolistli ravaged central Mexico, its true cause remained a profound mystery. It is not until recently where historical infectious disease researchers used modern-day science and determined that the disease was from the Old World. The arrivals of Spanish invaders around 2 decades earlier also heavily strengthens the idea that the disease was unknowingly brought over by the Spanish invaders.
Alright, and so it begins once again, the Foul Act 1 that we're starting with. As we begin now once again with the construction of our city. And as we can see, we do have a lot of build space available this time around. We got once again our purgatory over here and once again our await over here, where the souls are being then also directed into sinners for us again. So if you're new to this, I urge you to watch the other videos that I've already covered about this game, as it's a pretty complex one. And we continue now with the construction of a great city once again. We start with some blood paths, some basic paths where my sinners and souls can
was a god of lightning and
go around.
He was also the god of misfortune, deformities, and sickness.
And we will also start right away with some housing, as that is one of the most important things you want to have early on. A little block over there. Cowardice. Xolotl was a loyal dog. He had been chosen to be sacrificed, the ultimate example for humans to follow. But despite being the embodiment of death, the irony was that Xolotl did not want to die. Terrified, he fled and shapeshifted into a salamander to hide from his fellow gods. And we now need to choose once again a decree that determines the rest of the game. All sinners are more resistant to pestilence smog, 15% protection. I'm going to go ahead with this one as my first decree. And there's gonna be more. We can see them up here then on this event list that we have in front of us. Xolotl's breath, it produces this purplish pink haze called the pestilence smog. The pestilence smog will not affect the souls, soldiers and sadists. However, it drains the sinner's life slowly and mercilessly. Every sinner claimed by it will always return as a sadist. So it's gonna be important that we do not let too many sinners die. I continue with a bit of an industry. This looks like a perfect spot for it, to start with a sulking refinery that we want to have somewhere here. I would also like to go ahead with a Dead Hope that produces fear for us. And of course also needle cages for tears. And on top of that, very important, the blood pumps and the waste mine. As always, the blood pumps are something that you need quite a lot because blood is basically, yeah, it's actually the foundation of most of your consumption, of most of your maintenance. So you want to have that. I'm starting with 3 again, as I think this was quite a nice balance in the past. So we have the basic materials here, right? That's my tears, cries, fear, waste, and blood. And this is then being processed into more refined materials like bones, like embers, like hemoglobin, or like rust. And then we can also process that further into, for example, goo, acid, liquor, that we're also going to need that for my population. Also very important are my safekeepers, more or less. So here we have the weapons, and we can use these weapons then for, yeah, my stalkers, my sentries, my sirens, people that, or well, workforce that keeps me safe. Also here we have the souls coming in from the outside, coming in from the world. These are people that died, and these souls return then into sinners, which is labor force for me in this hellhole where we are right now. Lots of construction going on right now over here. Lovely to see how it is bustling. Even got a little forest over there. Lovely. Let's also go ahead with the first cauldron. That is then something where we can process. And I'm probably going to have my cauldron here. So we should be able to squeeze in a couple of them in here then, down the road. We can also speed up time. And as we can see, some more events and Act 2 will start soon. So we need to get all of this here started ASAP. And with that, we're now also starting to consume blood, as for example, a needle cage needs this to produce cries, and 30 sinners will work here. Let's also build the brewery and the blacksmith to produce weapons that we need then for the sentries. Since we're starting this mission with a lot of materials, we can also go ahead and upgrade the purgatory right away. That is something I would like to do, as it is speeding up your conversion rate for sinners and souls. And that just basically means more workforce. Blacksmith is ready to work now for us, and we can now decide what we want to start with. And since every sinner that dies turns into a sadist, we do probably need a lot of stalkers, because they are very good against sadists. So in this case here, stalkers need the scythe, that's this weapon here. So this needs the hemoglobin and the mercury to produce it. So let's start with that production. And what we can also see is now that Smith is doing its job. Very good.
Shining hopes. Extracting gold from the mines will be laborious, but the fortune buried within is enough for empires to rise.
Okay, we need to unearth the raw gold and deliver it to the forge. This is what we have now as our next mission. That is now Act 2. And Act 3, Bloodlust, is already on the horizon. So let's just find it. There we have a gold pile, for example, that we can now use to start and harvest. The Spanish conquistadors decimated the Aztec Empire with guns, steel, and horses, forcing Christianity upon its people. Yet it was the smallpox virus, unknowingly carried across the ocean by the invaders, that sealed the empire's fate, erasing all of the Aztecs' glory, the culture, and the language. All these destruction and decimation for religion and gold. Once again, we can choose here something. Reduces the damage caused by the pestilence smoke by 2%. I think I'm just gonna go ahead with this, because labor is not the biggest issue for me, but it's rather the damage on my sinners. So the greedy Xolotl demands gold coins. Succumb to his demands, or else the pestilence smoke becomes thicker and more potent. And the forge will then produce it for us. So let's get started on that. The gold mine, number 1, 50 sinners it actually costs me, so I can really just build one right now until we're running out of workforce. I might also continue or start with the upgrading process of tombs right away. Since we have so many materials, I'm fine with it. This is pretty important because it gives me more workforce, as we can squeeze in more sinners for each tomb. I will also need to build some stalker catacombs. That's for the guards. And let's have one over here. And we could also have another one then here. I think that should be enough for now. And for security, we might also need then to work on the barracks that produce then stalkers for us. but we don't have the workforce. Gotta wait on that a bit. The goo production has started. Goo is very important because without goo, my sinners will periodically die if we don't have this one as an upkeep. Goo, on the other hand, needs waste and tears. So this is the one that we should also produce all the time. And this is where I need my industry over here. But we are rather capped on resources for now. So we're starting with a healthy supply for all of that. Luckily. Next in line, we have now the... Oh, we have way too many of them. I can actually stop my production of scythes now. And finally, we can also now build the barracks. I would like to do this right over here. And we should also work on a tribute hall already. Because, yeah, we get the first tributes rolling in. Let's have this one... probably some over there. At this point, the first gold mine is working and producing gold for us. Now we need a forge that processes then all of that into gold ingots or gold coins that we can then use as a tribute. This building's super big and also very expensive. Where can we build it? In a predefined location, and that's over here. Gonna take quite some time also. We could also use the remaining workforce to produce some more gold. Here, very good. And let's also have a path going there. It's just faster for people to travel then. Barrack construction has been finished over here, and we're now producing stalkers until we have reached the limit in the catacombs that we built. And they will then roam the streets and make sure that no sadists take over, like here for example. Hell is not a friendly place. And over there, they're residing now. We could also add some poison vineyards, these here, or vineyards, and they make sure that any kind of sadist that passes through is getting destroyed. Even though these are not permanent, right? They disappear again over some certain charges that are being used. So what I like about this mission so far is that the game already knows that you kind of like know the mechanics, right? So you're not starting from scratch really, but you can really breeze through mechanics that you've already learned. So we can already also upgrade my tombs to tier 3 now, so that we can house even more sinners, which is going to be very important. And for security, we might also be building now a sentinel tower that also... Oh no, actually it hunts the slitters and shakers. And we finished the forge, by the way. Blood golems are summoned in the blood hall. The blood golems dutifully undertake patrols fortifying your domain against the sadists. Okay, upgrade the way to level 4 by unlocking the hold the door in the root of evil. So here we have the weight. We can already go ahead to level 2 now. We should be doing this. Very expensive that is though. I might also work on some storage, like the keep for example. Makes it possible for us to just store more resources. Oh, and we are going into Act 3 already. Autophagy. And when threatened and famished, our blood contains natural killer cells that seek out and destroy cancer cells. Blood golems kill sadists faster or reduces the damage caused by the pestilence block by another 2%, but the forge takes 100% more time to process gold coins. No, I'm not gonna go ahead with this. That would significantly slow down my gold production. Alright. And here we have the hold the door upgrade. It's in my tree. And over there, there's a sanctum that we can go ahead with to unlock us this one here. I'm gonna take some time. And it's actually gonna take some time anyway for us to reach that tier. With the forge now fully working, we also work towards now our 6,000 gold that we need. So 300 we already paid. Very nice. By the way, over here there's Xolotl. Xolotl. That's the god that we have now, that we basically fight in this mission. Roaming the waters around us. And over here we have the Garden of Eden. And this is where we're contributing the gold coins into right now. This also constantly takes workforce. Act 4, Witching. The situation comes bound by a ticking time limit. The devil clock has surfaced, an omen of doom. You must fulfill all tributes before its ticking halts. You must satisfy Xolotl's greed. Alright, use the necropolis to provide blood. We did that. Use the necropolis to provide souls. That would be over here. Where's my necropolis? There it is. Pretty cool building. And this one here we now used for the sadists. And now we can use then the souls for this. Okay, so we need to choose the next decree for Act 4. Once again, we can choose to reduce the damage further for the pestilence smog. Or order points increase by 5% per stage, but time of Axolotl demand takes 5% faster. This seems like, I don't know. Let's go with damage reduction to not lose that many sinners all the time. And the necropolis that we use here, that converts the sadists then back into blood or souls. So far we've used blood. Now I can choose it to produce souls. And we can then redirect these souls then, you know, into my weight, where we convert them into sinners again. As it is in hell. I'm gonna build more tombs though, because we still need more sinners. So I'm expanding my neighborhood. Right now we are producing 80 gold coins. That is of course also based on the amount of gold mines that we have, right? So each one of them is increasing the forge productivity speed by 60%. So it might be a safe bet to build a few more. We can build 2 more with the resources we have. That would be another one. I think up here we had them. Yeah, there's one and there's one. And then we have all the gold slots filled. I will need to also get more embers pumping out because we want to upgrade that weight here to the next level. Very important that we work on the tribute right now. So that's where we're producing the scythe, the mace, and the harps. We can send them then over to the tribute hall. If we don't do this on time, and if all of these are red, for example, then we would get some pretty hefty penalties out of that, right? The god would be angry with us, and I certainly don't want that. So let's go ahead and push more into the harp. In my first mission, I actually neglected the tributes a bit, and this came back very badly for us. All right, let's pay the next tribute. That's the scythe and the harps. And as we can see, the harps are now in the green area, so they should be satisfied. And we're working on some more scythes now. All of this, though, consumes then once again resources that we need for other things, right? So I might need to work on another cauldron now, so that we can produce more resources out of my basic resources. Let's build this one here. And... oh no, okay, that's fine. There's the path then. And this is just where the game really shines to me, right? All the resource management that you need to keep track of. And if you do one thing, it has dire consequences for another branch. Like if you're using too much of the mercury, for example, right? We cannot produce then more of my weapons that we can then use for tributes again, and so forth. By the way, we're not producing, right? Oh, we are. Also gotta watch out that we have enough stalkers and also enough goo all the time, because these are my upkeep resources that we need. And now we're out of the mercury. I might need to push a bit more, but this is where the cauldron comes in now. How much workforce do we have available? 600, that's fine. And Act 5 actually starts now. Still have a bit of time there too for the tributes. The scythes are not that fast, unfortunately, because we are using them also for my stalkers. Okay, construct the black market would be the next mission now. Act 5, bribery. If safety must be bought, what does that say about those who offer it? Bribery is not faith, it is fear dressed in ritual. They do not protect you out of duty, they protect what you offer. And if you stop offering, they stop pretending to care. Very nice. Friendly people everywhere. And this also introduces the next decree. An inch of time is worth an inch of gold. An inch of gold cannot buy an inch of time. The Chinese were wrong. And every gold you have offered to the Titan will reduce the hourglass movement or greatly reduces the damage caused by the pestilence spark. 30% gold filled, 30% time slower. We have reached 30% of the gold filled now. So with that, time moves slower. This is a tricky one. I guess I'm gonna go with the hourglass movement. Reduction, right? So time is slowed down now. And gives us more time to prepare. There's also the maces now coming in. Very good. Unfortunately, they consume ember. Ember is also something we need for upgrading the weight. But my next cauldron is ready, so we could now produce ember 2 times. Which is exactly what I would like to do, to push that further. And as we can see, we should be reaching 800 now. That gives me now the opportunity of upgrading my weight to tier 3. Very nice. And now we have the fire weight. So it's changing its elements all the time. And now reduce the turning rate. We can morph this one into something new. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead once again with increase the soul to sinner rate. Let's continue with the black market. And you can actually build up to 6 of them. Alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and have this one right here somewhere. Centrally. We have reached the max rate for the gold conversion now. 100 gold coins. And yeah, the gold is pouring in. Halfway we are. Halfway through. And as we can see, my sinners then transport all of this up here to the Garden of Eden. And there it is, the black market. A gorgeous building, really. And we can now trade. We can trade, for example, some of my sinners for goo, for lots of it, by the way. We can also trade the maces for sinners, or we can trade scythes for sinners. Let's go with the goo and exchange this one. Regarding my scythes, I think this could be very tight, so it's green for the mace and the harps. The scythe is probably not gonna last, it's gonna be yellow. And we'll just see what kind of penalty we're getting out of that. And their tribute is gone. Tribute demands were not met. 280 sinners have been culled. Alright, that is something we can actually, you know, survive. The problem, of course, is that this penalty kicks down. So if we reach the 1,000 sinners, I think the mission is over. So we should not let this allow to happen. Act 6, Hemorrhage. All things born of flesh are now vulnerable to the poison state. The bloody pump, the dreadful tree, and the pit. Periodically, one of them will be poisoned and cease to function. Oh, as if things weren't bad enough already. We need to stockpile them now.
Plagues impact all living beings.
Apple of my Eve. The story about Eve being tricked into eating the apple is incorrect. She was just greedy for knowledge. Just ask Lord Lucifer. Act 6, Apple of my Eve. Dreadful tree lures or learning is faster or reduces the damage caused by the smog. Let's go with this once again. Lots of new events kicking in now, as we can see on the timeline there too. And Xolotol's poisonous breath can cause organic buildings to become poisoned, and they will cease to function for a certain time. And we get a new building, the pit, that allows me to sacrifice soldiers for a random amount of secondary resources. We probably will need this if a building ceases to function where we do not have any resources anymore. Then we can use this as an emergency measure, more or less. Let's build me a pit. It's affordable. And probably a bit further outside here. Let's go ahead and build me the first one. And of course, as it is, the bloody pump is poisoned right away. The most important building. And with that, we have no blood production right now and a deficit. And this means that all the other buildings that need blood as an upkeep cease to function. Also, my cauldron doesn't work anymore. And my brewery. Oh, the brewery is also poisoned. And there is now the pit. So my sinners, they jump into this one. And they get swallowed and randomly generates then a resource between 0 and 246 out of all of these here, right? And as long as we keep this fully staffed, we should always get a steady supply of all of this in. As long as my workers jump into this pit. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt. I guess. Since the blood pumps do not work, and I have no idea how long they don't work, it is safe to add something else, and that is the altars. And the altars, at the altars you can also produce resources. Let's just go ahead. That is waste, cries, and fear, right? And we have this done over here by the tree. Also, the tree does not work right now. Oh, also poisoned. More and more buildings get poisoned. Should still be fine as long as the forge continues to produce gold. That we have over there, even though the poison is also creeping in here. Okay, Act 6 has ended. I think we're at Act 7, Epilepsy. The pestilent smog has drained the life from most of your organic buildings now. The dreadful tree has withered. Some of the bloody pumps no longer flow. Even the pit has become vulnerable. However, there's a silver lining. A technique known as cleanse is beginning to emerge. Endure the stage and you will gain the ability to cleanse. Cleansing your structures will restore them and production will resume. Okay, reduce the frequency of shadow stealing from your domain by constructing 5 totems.
Look at the tree.
That's my tree. Not looking good. And greed is always preferred until there is no more health. Get 100 sinners, but all sinners die 10% faster. And the Forge mints gold 8% faster, but all sinners die 25% faster. Oh god, what is that? I'm gonna go ahead with this. And the Forge, because the Forge should be finished soon. We're very close to paying the full tribute here now. And we can now also build the totems, used to distract the shallows from their endless hunger. And unlike the sentinels, the totem does not kill sadists though. That's for the security. There we have them. And yeah, let's build me a couple of these totems throughout my domain. It's good to spread it out, right? And especially along the main roads. And by the way, we would need more ember for this. So we need to endure the stage right now to unlock us that cleansing technique then as well. And that we also paid the last piece to the god up here, to the Garden of Eden. Look at that. Holy cow. There's all my gold. Since sinners die at the Forge as well, and we have this penalty where the death rate is increased for them, I'm actually going to stop it now because we have fulfilled the objective. So until the next objective appears, I'm not going to produce more gold, as we are losing a lot of sinners right now. By the way, disruptive events kick in now, and Act 8, Bandage. At this point, most of my city does not work anymore. You have learned to cleanse, but the worst is not over. Cleanse uses acid to scrub away the pestilence smog, restoring structures back to working state, but it is not a cure. After a short period of immunity, the same structures may fall to the poison state once more. And acid we have though, so let's try and cleanse. There it is. The blood pumps especially, because without them, most of my buildings don't work. Michael was arguing with father about Lucifer banishment as witnessed by his brothers. They did not know it was an act to shield someone from having the same fate. And totems now build faster or they're cheaper. Let's go with cheaper. The Sorrow Silo produces cries more efficiently compared to the Needle Cage. Sorrow Silos doesn't kill sinners while producing cries. However, it requires more labors. I think it might be a very good thing to do this, actually, the Sorrow. Right, because this reduces the death rate as opposed to the Needle Cage. There it is. Ooh, quite expensive though. Let's get the blood pumps back to working. Without them, we're helpless. And let's also upgrade them, by the way. We need to keep the blood flowing again. The main problem, of course, is with all of this, we are certainly not able to fulfill that tribute here. So this will be the maximum penalty coming out of it. I was absolutely unable to, because there was just no way for me to get gold, to get blood, right? So this absolutely did not work. And 400 sinners have been culled. This is kicking up my counter here significantly. Wow, that was bad. Okay, the blood pumps work now at tier 2. All 4 of them. Oh, wow. This one's already poisoned again. So, okay. Seems like this will be pretty hard to manage. The brewery is dead. There's no way for me to also get it back up again. So I need to actually build me another brewery. But I have no sinners anymore. All of my sinners have been culled. Also, my blood pumps are starting to die. It's just dead, flat out. Cannot do anything about it, but rebuild it. Okay, Act 9, gentle reminder. Whoa, things are getting a bit fast now. The Titans are not gods, they are structures of menace, built to overwhelm, to suffocate, and to test to resolve. But the domain shaped the Lord Lucifer is not without answer. His fury is deliberate. The question is not whether the menace will strike, but whether you are ready to strike back. Yeah. So for now, let's finish the brewery because I need to get more acid rolling. Resurrection. Axolotls can regrow multiple body parts, including limbs and internal organs such as the brain, lungs, and even heart. This amazing salamander inspired many myths that even the dead can be revived. Consumes all available acid to cleanse all organic buildings. Nice. 50% of Sinner's death bar will be revived. Sinner death bar will not be affected, but turning rate is increased by 25%. This is a very interesting choice here. We can reactivate all buildings at once, or we get 50% reduction here. I think we're not that high on the sinner death bar, so let's actually go with this one. And with that, I'm expecting now... Yeah, okay, the buildings that died, they remain dead. Okay, and let's continue with more acid production again at the brewery. And then I will also need to get more blood pumps again. There's 4 bad events now coming in. Okay, the brewery is down again. Holy cow, what is that? Is that scripted? Because my breweries just keep dying now. Let's build this one here right away. And as long as it functions, we need to produce goo. I mean, I also need to produce acid, honestly, to cleanse buildings. But without goo, my sinner death rate is increased dramatically. So I need to get the goo in at least, as long as I can. There it is. Let's actually build me another brewery, since we have the resources. That's 80 ember, and I think my cauldron could produce then some ember out of the waste. And blood pump, the next blood pump is, we can cleanse it. We can cleanse this one, but they just keep failing again and again, so I don't know if this is properly scripted. I have no way right now of doing anything. Let's go with more acid. We have the tiers. And I need more waste as well. So I probably also need to build more waste mines. Let's try this here. Without waste, we cannot process more ember. I think we need to survive this stage primarily. Boss stage incoming. Things are getting serious. Acid production is up and running, and we have now also the goo production up and running if we have any waste. The tribute was paid, but Xolotls refused peace. Instead, he unleashed another wave of pestilent smog, deadlier than all pestilent smogs before. Souls exposed to this new pestilent smog will never become sinners. From this moment on, every unprocessed soul is lost, forever bound to become a sadist. Do you have what it takes to endure this? Things are getting even spicier, it seems. I think, yep, waste production is up and running again at least. Blood pumps continue to be poisoned. Act 10 it is. Gold coin production, speed is increased. Gold coin production is sped up, but all sinners die. Oh, both of them have the penalty. All sinners die 20% faster or 35% faster. Let's go with this one, because gold is not my issue here. It's all about surviving the pestilence smoke now. All my blood pumps are poisoned now, so there's nothing for me to do here. We are losing the blood continuously at this point. I could build more blood pumps over here, just trying to spread it out a bit. The pestilence smog increases now, and as we can see, there's the bar up here filling it. And by now, the whole town, or the whole city is now affected by it, so there's nothing I can do. Just survive it, basically. And so, finally, it is upon ourselves that the boss stage begins, the final battle against the Titan.
Have you ever considered fighting Titans with Titans?
Titans are the ultimate weapon, produces the resources required to command Rangda and Namasu to assist in neutralizing Xolotl. So these are the two gods, or the two Titans that we fought before. Xolotl's greed runs deep. He now guards a gold coin tribute in the Garden of Eden. To defeat him, first summon Rangda, let her melt the gold coins into liquid metal. Then we need Namasu. She will crash her waters down and cool the molten gold to finalize the coffin. So we begin the stage with basically no functioning industry. Bullies usually always come in the plural. They don't fight fair. You shouldn't too. Summon Rangda is cheaper. The Wrath is free to activate now, but current Pestilent Smog damage will be increased by 100%. Namasu will be cheaper, but 100% increase. Death limit to Pestilent Smog increased by 50%. Let's try the third one here, the middle ground, I guess. So first order of business is to get my industry going again. That's the blood pumps primarily. It's these here. So can we delete them? No. We cannot delete the ones that have been destroyed. Slowly but steadily, we get the blood pumps working, 4 of them now. Hopefully we are not losing them again to something. The tributes here, that will be over, right? There's no chance I can actually do them, so I'm not even bothering with the tribute. We just take the penalty. What we need now is we need to really focus on the production here. That is now the scythe that we need to produce over here. So this production has started now. Very good. The mercury production would be then in the altar, and that's the fear. So we are also starting to process that again to get this one going. And then we have to produce the fear, and I think this was, there it is, in the dead hope, where we also sacrifice sinners to produce it. Oh, I forgot, the poisoning continues, right? So buildings still get poisoned, and immediately the blood pumps that we built are poisoned, and there's no way for me to actually cleanse them because all my breweries are dead. Let's build me another brewery, at least try it. Scythe production has finished. Okay, in order to fix my gold thingy, what we can do is we can use the necropolis to turn sadists into 250 blood, right? With this rate, we should hopefully have a bit more blood available there. The main problem though is fear, and with fear we need to produce 1200. The problem is the game already gave me 3000 and more fear, whereas my storage capacity is only 300. So at least until we are not, you know, above that storage capacity, we cannot produce any fear. Now we are consuming fear for the mercury production that we have right now, but I would still need to have some storage for that, for fear only. That's the keep, to have as much fear. Oh wait a second, actually it's not. The keep does not have this one, the warehouse has it. Let's build the warehouse. Okay, at this point I reckon that blood pumps are not supposed to function in this boss stage because they immediately get poisoned and immediately, you know, I can't keep up with the production here of the acid to cleanse them continuously because that always needs 100 acid and there's just no production for this. So I guess we need to take care of more sadists to produce the blood in the necropolis instead, which I think is the primary goal here. The problem really still is that I just cannot get that fear storage in, right? Our warehouse has been finished. I think we will need to have another one fully upgraded to get more fear, otherwise we will not be able to produce this. Okay, there's the mercury again, so we consume. I need to get the altar. I need to keep the cauldron here rolling, right, to produce the mercury for this stage here. There is my next blood pump dead, so I think we're not able to build any more blood pumps. 2 more I could build, but they would be immediately disabled again. I'd rather focus on killing sadists instead, and that is the poison vineyards that we can build. They will then kill sadists that are close by. So along the main roads we should have them, right? And for every 5 sadists we kill, we get 250 blood. Alright, the first god can be summoned now. Hope you enjoyed this one, the Hell City Builder of the Dead. A very interesting and very, very deep city builder. Don't forget to leave a like behind and we may continue onwards here with the series. And also don't forget to check out the link in the video description to learn more about this really cool, interesting and unique city builder. Stay tuned!